Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast. I am Nancy Christine Brady.
And I am Tara Diana.
And boy, do we have an incredible episode for you today. It is after Tara visited a certain museum, Patrick Swayze came to mind. And I didn't even know all of this about him. So I'm super excited to deep dive into a little bit more of the metaphysical portion of his life.
Okay, so I'm going to take it from here because I was at the location. So we're going to just call it out for what it is. Zach Bagans, he found me on Instagram that last time I talked about him with the James Dean thing, and maybe he'll find us again. Who knows, Nan? But I went to Zach Bagans' haunted museum in LA. And it was okay. It was good. It had some cool stuff. It had some not so cool stuff. It had some cheese doodle stuff, but there's always is. And some people love the cheese doodle. We don't. But this is where I saw the Patrick Swayze paraphernalia, the stuff that made me stop and go,
welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast,
where the supernatural gets real, baby. And Nancy, you and I discussed this a little bit because I was so stunned by it. I was like so stunned by it. So let me kind of set you guys up for this. In 2008, Patrick Swayze, if you don't know who Patrick Swayze is, you ain't my friend. Patrick Swayze, Ghost.
I've always loved you.
Rumblefish, The Outsiders.
I bet they're looking for us.
This is our territory.
Dirty Dancing. Oh my God, how could I forget Dirty Dancing, baby?
Yeah.
Right? Those were kind of his movies. You know who he is. He was super into his wife, Lisa, I'm going to say her name wrong, Niemi. It's like Niemi. I don't know. You know how I am with names. They were like, such a super, super beautiful couple together, like true love and all that jazz. But in 2008, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4.
I lost my wonderful husband, Patrick Swayze, to pancreatic cancer more than 10 years ago. He died after a valiant fight, just 22 months after diagnosis.
And he really kind of fought that publicly. Like, we all knew he had cancer. He did not hide it. I remember back then being like, oh, and watching him as he was going through the transitions. And so while, he mostly did this journey, like treatments, if you will, he mostly did them with all conventional, like westernized medicine, right? Like that was the thing. But obviously at some point in his journey, Lisa and him decided that maybe things weren't going as well as they would like, and they decided to step out of the box and become maybe a little more unconventional. Now in like 2025, I mean, oh my God, 2008, Nam. That's what we're gonna call Nan now, Nam. In 2008, and it's 2025, he's been passed over. He passed in 2009, but that's a long time he's been gone. Things were different. The metaphysical, yes, it was a little more common. People were getting a little more into it. It was more acceptable, but it was not by any means like it is now, where, people are throwing crystals all over the place and everyone's got a healing, energetic, modality that they're doing, and we all wear chakras on our bodies and all this stuff. It wasn't like that back then, so it was unconventional, at least I think, for Patrick and Lisa to step out of that box, right? And be like, okay, we're going to try something else. And the only reason, Nan, that I even know that they tried something else is because I went to this museum, back to good old Zach. We went to his museum and they had, he has so much stuff in there. It's crammed for sure. But they had the celebrity section. That's where I saw the James Dean. If you haven't seen our James Dean episode, then for real, go check it out.
Scroll back through the titles, people. Scroll back through the titles.
When his little bastard Porsche 550 Spider, with a Y, was involved in a catastrophic collision on the way to a race meeting. Dean was killed instantly, but little bastard would go on to cause considerably more trouble. So I was in there and they have the celebrity section. So that's where I saw the James Dean, and that was a cool one. You guys should go back and watch that or listen to it. But there was also all this Patrick Swayze stuff in there, like a special section. And the first thing I saw was the iconic, leather jacket from Ghost. And so Ghost is a movie that if you haven't seen and you're into the spiritual, and it's 1989, that's the year I graduated. Oh,
I loved that movie.
do you know, I remember the key points of it, but it was too sad for me. Like, it was way too sad. And it was way before I realized what I was, you know, as a medium. So, but it was way too sad for me. So I don't even think I watched the whole thing. Like, just, him and Demi Moore. And I was like, I can't do this. But if you don't know what it is, it's about, you know, love and loss and the afterlife and how Patrick comes back as a ghost, as in the movie's name, Ghost, comes back, you know, as a ghost, and how, remember the scene with the
pottery wheel?
Yeah, if you can't see me, guys, I'm waving my hands like I'm trying to make some kind of weird-ass vase. But yeah, it was just a lot. So the iconic jacket, the leather jacket from that was in there. And then when you moved along, you saw this other section. And weirdly enough, it was in between like Michael Jackson's bedroom set and something else I can't remember. And it totally like blew my mind. It said Patrick Swayze, and then it had like a deck of tarot cards. It had a crystal wand. It had other crystals in there. It had a like a little pyramid kind of thingy. Like all these pieces of things that you would use on a metaphysical journey, a spiritual journey. And the moment I saw them, I'm telling you, Nan, it was like this guy was trying other things to help him when he was sick. Immediately.
That's cool. So have you deep dove on the different things that he was trying?
No, it doesn't. Nothing I found really got into that. This was not something that was like put out there. I did take a look, and I tried to find a little bit more, but Lisa doesn't talk about it enough. What she did is like she just put this stuff up for auction at Julian's Auctions to kind of honor Patrick, and she just kind of put it out there, and then the topic kind of just didn't get any kind of anything extra. But remember, I said before, and I still hold to this, 2008, 2009, this stuff was a little woo-woo still. It was more acceptable than it has been, yes, we know, but it was a little bit woo-woo, and I couldn't find much of anything. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even find in Zach Bagan's information that he had this stuff. I'm just there, and I couldn't take a picture. I was going to try to take a picture, but you're not allowed to take pictures obviously in there, so I was going to take a picture. Big thing about his ghost jacket, but not so much about this. But when I saw it, it made me think about a story I'm going to quickly share. I had a metaphysical friend, and she got breast cancer, and she was in like stage 3 breast cancer when she came and told us, and I was like, oh my God, so and so, like, okay, we'll send all the energy. Hear me out on this. We'll send all the energy. We'll do all of that. But what are the doctors saying? And she's like, I'm not going to the doctors. I'm going to go swim with the dolphins in Hawaii. Oh. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, I don't know about you, Nan, but I know a lot of people that work in the spiritual world that believe in spiritualism, and they hold very strong beliefs about Western medicine.
Yes.
I'm not one of them. I wholeheartedly, with my full chest, believe that spirit-made Western medicine, spirit-made crystals and all sorts of things, and then we need to combine the two, just like Patrick was obviously thinking.
I'd have to agree with you. I'm on the same page. There's a reason there's Eastern and Western medicine. There's a reason it beautifully works together. Science has proven a lot of different cures out there, and medicines to help, like penicillin, perfect example, right?
And and fair enough, everyone can have their beliefs. This is no shade on anyone for what their belief structures are. That's just our humble opinion, and it's obvious to me that people were starting to feel a little more inclined to, we're not meant to be here forever. An illness will get us if it's meant to get us.
Absolutely.
But there's no harm in, and ultimately, aren't we just really prolonging our lives, right? in the end, when we do something to kind of help us through a situation that feels like it could be dire, we are generally just prolonging. We're all going to die anyway.
So let me ask you a question. Do you believe that we have several different exit points that we can take once we incarnate in this lifetime?
Oh, that's super interesting. I do. I don't think about it very much. But now that you're saying that, yeah, absolutely I do. Because here's the thing. There's free will choice, right? So if we are in free will choice, then we kind of go to that place of like, what direction am I going in? And if our life's meant to be short, it could be short at 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years.
Yeah.
But what choices we make tells us how far we go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. I 100% agree with you. And I'll give you an example. When I believe I was, 17, and I was on the back of a motorcycle and we crashed into the side of a mountain on Vancouver Island. And I literally saw my life go before my eyes and I went, no, I'm not ready yet. I remember specifically having a conversation, and that was kind of game changer for me on how spiritually development changed for me. Like I went, oh, I've got to deep dive on a lot of this stuff, because I specifically remember going, nope, this isn't my exit point.
That's interesting. I think sometimes people don't have an option though. You know,
Yeah.
I immediately when you said that, I was like, why wouldn't Ryan have said no, not today? Ryan being my son, guys. If you follow, you know. If you don't, go find the episode about Ryan. Way back when. I'll find that one for you too.
I think we have that pinned as well, which will lead us into our next podcast, which you absolutely have to check out as well, about mediums and how we grieve. But, you know, I do feel a lot of times we wouldn't know, right, until we get to the other side, why a person, and now just hear me out on this. I'm not saying Ryan did or didn't choose his exit point, but I believe you're right. Sometimes people can't choose, but I believe sometimes people do make choices and then we end up on the other side, but the loved ones here don't understand it until we're kind of reviewing our life on the other side and we're all together in the soul group again.
I wonder if that is along the lines of, nope, just not your time. And they throw you back through that white light.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this happened to you? Shitty. Get back there because you're not supposed to be here yet. Or, hey, come friend, come. We have cookies over here, right?
You know, I had a t-shirt like that for my son and it was Cookie Monster. It was like, come to the dark side. We have cookies. And he was eating a cookie. Anyways, I digress. Keep going.
That's probably where I got that from. I'm not that witty, but it brought me back to this Patrick Swayze, his wife, a major, player in celebrity. Everyone knows who Patrick Swayze is, except for probably like the kids now. Seriously, I asked Noella if she knew who Prince was, and she's like, no. Anyway, that's a topic for another conversation. I will get into that. Noella is 21, friends. Did not know who Prince was. What is that? But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the crystals and crystals specifically. Let's talk about crystals specifically, and then maybe a little bit, Nan, about people's modalities, because a lot of people that practice energy work, whether it's Reiki, whether it's reflexology, whether it is Psycheme, any of those, therapeutic touch, all those things have an element, it's energy. You're shifting, you're moving energy. And to just think for a moment that crystals are used mostly to attune or heighten a vibration, amplify. That's a word that's used with crystals all the time. Why do you have a crystal pyramid under your massage table while you're doing Reiki? Well, it amplifies the energy. So obviously, and I'm going to say this with tremendous respect, I love me some Patrick Swayze. It did not work for him. And I don't think it's because Patrick didn't know what to do with it. I don't think it's that. I'm sure he probably found a practitioner that knew what crystals to use and etc., etc. But it also comes down to, is it just a last ditch effort? I'm going to try the crystals. I wonder if he really believed in the crystals, or he was just that desperate, you know? I don't want to go.
Wow. Okay, so you've asked a lot of questions there.
I
So,
would.
I 100%, I'd have to say with, you know, that returns to sometimes when it's your time, it's your time. Like you're going with or without your permission. You know, as far as crystals and their healing ability and whether he believed, I can't say. But I can say, as you know, I used to work for a crystal wholesaler. I am a crystal junkie. Anyone who is watching us on YouTube, all these drawers behind me are alphabetized crystals. I'm that person.
I love that so much.
But
I have one. I'm kidding.
no, I've given you more than one.
I have more than one, yes.
But I've proven it. Like there was a certain crystal and I tested it out and I had a really bad bruise on my leg. I put the crystal on that bruise and I let it stay there for, I don't know, quite a while. I picked up the crystal and the skin was healed underneath where the crystal was sitting, but the black bruise was around it. So there's certain things like that where you go, okay, yeah, that absolutely it was believable. But I also worked with someone at the time who was quite skeptical, and she was like, well, what if it's just a placebo? And I'm like, but if your brain is creating that placebo and believes it and heals itself, who cares? As long as...
Okay, I was literally going to go down that rabbit hole. I was going to be like, okay, well, what if that's just your belief structure, right? What if you're just like, you just know? You know how when people always say to me, Tara, how can you get up there and just give messages like that? You do it so quickly. It seems like you're on and off like a light bulb, like a light switch.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, because I just trust, because I believe with every ounce of my being. And having said that, you know, people ask questions like, you know, how could people follow Charles Manson or the guy at Waco, like for David, whatever, Koresh. Like, how do people follow that? Because they get into that belief structure. They just believe. And it's true, though. And I'm using those two as a specific, you know, an example, Nan, because our belief can be so strong. It can work for good and for bad.
So if we flip this back as well, I just read an article the other day, and again, I'm going to have to try to find it so we can throw it on our Instagram. Definitely check the links in the description on our podcast. And if you're on, whether it be on the podcast platforms or YouTube, check the links because that's where we have everything in the description. But I read an article the other day. So you know how Lemurian crystals are supposed to contain energy, and stories and documentation of historically anything that's sort of, I believe it's attached to Atlantis.
Yes, I actually know that.
Okay.
That's probably the extent of my crystal knowledge other than the chakra crystals.
Okay, so what they've proven now is people are actually going to start using these crystals to program information in our technology. So it's actually going to change how technology is put together. And I can't speak in detail to it, but the article was completely fascinating how they were going to take like actual crystals and it's going to be game changer. And it was all about, the whole article went on a little bit about AI and all of this, but the fact that they're going back to the basics of Earth and putting it in this advanced technology blew my mind.
That's way too much for me. Just tell me the Cole's notes of it when you read it again, and I'll take your word for it. You know, I'm sitting here thinking about these crystals though, and Patrick Swayze. Been thinking about him a lot lately, but I'm thinking about him, and I really wonder, Nan, because there's nothing that I could find that says he was into the metaphysical or the spiritual, you know, Shirley MacLaine, you know, that kind of stuff. So I really wonder, and you know, someone might ask me, you know, why don't you just ask him in spirit? And the answer to that is he has to want to come to me and tell me. But I just wonder if he really thought, you know what, I don't have any other options. What harm could it do? And that leads me again to what we were just talking about, the fact that if you believe in something, it has more power, right? We already know that crystals, and I believe this with my full chest, baby, we already know that crystals do amplify energy. Absolutely. Each one of them does something a little, and that's why you can have like, they're not all like this, this orange crystal here just does abundance. This yellow crystal just does protection. This purple crystal just does. It's not like that. There's many crystals that can have the same properties of the other crystals. But if you believe in what the crystal offers, I mean, you can manifest anything. You can manifest any healing. You could, if you took a crystal that you said, and this is just my thought process, but if you took a crystal and you told me, Nan, you gave me a pink crystal and said, Tara, this is all about protection. The only thing this crystal can do is protect you from other people's negative energy. And in fact, you're lying through your teeth to me. And we know that this particular crystal is all about self-love, self-worth, and compassion, etc., etc. But you've told me something else, and Spirit didn't tell me anything different. Another story for another day. And I take that crystal and I'm like, this crystal is going to protect me from all the negative energy. And so it is. Now I'm
also putting the intention with your belief structure into that crystal as you're saying that.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It will amplify me. I'll get all the benefits, you guys. Babies, I will get all the benefits of the love that comes with that particular crystal. But now I've made it. Well, Nan's made it, and I believed in Nan, and I believe in Spirit, and I believe in the crystal, and I believe I know how to make things work. I believe that, and now I've got this energy protection around me. So again, it comes down to, interestingly enough, why wouldn't have that worked for Patrick? Why didn't adding the crystals and the metaphysical stuff work for Patrick?
So my belief around that is he was also at stage 4 cancer. And that, for all the people I've known with cancer, that is such an advanced stage of cancer. It's hard for you to come back even with Western medicine, with Eastern medicine, with all of that. So again, I really feel it comes back to, it wouldn't matter how strong his belief was, because it was his time.
Yeah, my boo. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it just is your time. And that's it. That's it, period. He gave it a shot and it was a good shot, and it was, with good intention. And it didn't matter how much he believed in it or didn't believe in it. It simply was not his time to continue. Here.
So here's the devil's advocate side of me, though. Did he really believe in it that much? Was it really that influential in his life for her to throw it up for an auction? So,
well, I was going to say that, Nan. That was one of the things I was going to say. So thank you for bringing that up, because I the other side to that, like you said, is that did he really believe in this? I just don't think it would have mattered regardless. Like you said, time to go. But I don't think if he had put any more energy into it, if he had really believed and really, really believed, I think he was hopeful. I think he wished for it. I think he wanted it, needed it even. But I don't believe that he was into that space. And here's the other thing, there has been some weird articles I read, and I just read them on a whim when I first saw these, when I was trying to see what else I could find about this stuff. And Lisa, I don't know. I can't speak. I've never met her, obviously. I've never met her. But she just didn't, and I know she had this intense love. The two of them had an intense, romance relationship. It was huge. I don't believe that either one of them had children, not from anything previous. They may have been together from the very beginning. I don't know. I didn't do that kind of deep dive, babies. But I just didn't feel like the connection afterwards when she wanted to honor him by putting this stuff up for auction. It felt weird. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what people put stuff up for auction in the States all the time, right? But I don't know why it felt weird to me.
Did Zach have a story breakdown of this? Could it have been as simple as maybe Demi Moore said, hey, here's some crystals to help you. And he went, thanks. And he set him beside. Or was there a whole story and lead up to this display that was in the museum?
Nothing. They were just said Patrick Swayze's, and it said something attempt to use the metaphysical to help cure his cancer. That was kind of the premise of it. There was not anything, and I tried to do the research, friends. I did, and I couldn't find anything more than what I already had, and that was just the basics. It literally was just like they decided that they wanted to give this a try, so they went the unconventional way. So I'm just looking at this and seeing Swayze's exploration of metaphysical healing reflects, a broader human desire to find meaning and hope in the face of illness. Okay, but it just kind of, that was it. That was kind of it. Here's the few things that he had, that he was using, and they went up for auction. And it's really funny because I didn't find, the most I found was about the ghost jacket.
Right, which makes me wonder if there's nothing historically anywhere we can find on this, has it something that's been sensationalized? Like, oh, he got a really good deal at the auction. Zach got a jacket. Oh, there's some crystals in the pocket. So let's make up a story about it saying that he used these. I'm being really negative right now.
Well, there was other stuff there. There was a tarot card. There was a wand. There was a few other things. So, there was a little tiny bit of it, information alluding to the fact that he had stepped out of the conventional and was trying something more. There's a little bit alluding to that, but there wasn't a lot of really tangible information. And again, it really focused on the jacket, and the jacket, is cool. But when you go back to it and you read that one part when it says, his exploration of metaphysical healing reflects a broader human desire to find meaning and hope in the face of illness. That's not what that sentence doesn't resonate with me. Do you know what I mean? I feel more like he was at that point in his life where, what does he have to lose? Right?
Yeah.
So yes, a little bit of hope and everything, but it just didn't feel it. Now, there's other people that will go and do, crystals and metaphysical healers. And like I said, there's a lot of different modalities out there. Some I jive with, some I'm just like, okay. But I truly feel that there's no harm, honestly, in stepping out of the box, grabbing some crystals. I would suggest learning about them and picking the right ones for what you need. But there's no harm in that. There is no harm in going and seeing a reputable. Did we all hear that? A reputable, holistic, spiritual energy practitioner. There's nothing, nothing wrong with that. And the problem, I guess, Nan, is when an everyday person who doesn't follow the spiritual, metaphysical kind of workings and stuff goes out there and just suddenly wings it, right? And just goes and sees anyone because someone said, do your research on your crystals, baby, but do your research on the practitioner you're going to go see. Straight up. 100%. And get more than one person to tell you that this is a good practitioner.
100%.
Referrals. So, interestingly enough, I feel personally, and I could tap into Patrick, and maybe one day we should do that. Hey, are you there? There, please. Anyway, maybe we should tap in one day. But having said that, I truly believe that there is nothing wrong with stepping out of your conventional belief structures and moving into something a little different, because you never know what it is that's going to tip the scale.
Absolutely.
In your favor.
Yeah. It really reminds us of the power of exploring beyond conventional, how we can tune into those energies around us, how we can explore. Like you said, not everything's going to resonate with you, but when you get out there and energetically you feel like something is resonating with you, go with it and make sure that the energy vibe is great.
Yeah, trust yourself, right? To end this, I truly feel that Patrick had the love of his life with him. He had tried everything he could, so he didn't leave any stone unturned. And so he passed with grace. Like, I feel that with my full chest. And I'm sure to this day, I'm wondering if, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Lisa's still here with us. Nothing I read said she wasn't. And all of a sudden I got this weird kind of chill thing. I will look that up and we will put that somewhere. But I know that was weird. I got this weird chill and I was like, okay. But, I believe he passed away with love, with knowing he did everything he needed to do.
Yeah, I think so too.
And there's power in that, right?
Absolutely.
I love power. Not the kind of power. I just mean being in your, being able to say, I did what I needed to do. I feel like, I tried what I needed to try. I feel like I did what I needed to do to see where I needed to kind of focus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we should do that one day. Just tap in and see if Patrick can come and see us, because I had such a crush on him. But
Did you?
I did.
I remember him mostly, and I know Dirty Dancing. I know Ghost. Remember, I didn't watch all Ghost. I watched Dirty Dancing many times. I can sing Dirty Dancing. Oh my God, the soundtrack for that, like nobody's business. But my favorite movie that he was in, where I just thought he was like everything, and then some, was The Outsiders.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like that was like, I was every guy, Ralph Macchio. Anyway, I could get into it. Rob Lowe.
Both of them, yeah.
Right? Like, holy cow.
Now.
Okay, so speaking of tuning in, if you want to tune in and you want to follow us, for those of you eager to kind of learn more about your spirituality, the metaphysical and whatnot, you're gonna want to hear about what we have that's all special that we are working on. We are in the works of it. Nan, what do we have that's special?
Yeah, we do. And we've got some surprises coming up that we're still working on, but definitely go back and check the description on the podcast platform that you're following us, on the YouTube description, and you're going to get access to all sorts of cool things. Surprise is coming as far as, can I drop the word? Patreon.
Oh my goodness. And the Patreon's going to be like something different for you guys, something pretty cool, because it's not just about the podcast. It's got lots of stuff in it, which is going to be amazing. So we hope that you enjoyed this, and
stay tuned. We're going to get you all the information as much as we can in the description. Thank you everyone for listening.
Take care. Bye now. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind the scenes fun.